Hey there, it's Delilah. That's right. I got new hair. Thanks for noticing. It's no big deal, really. It's crazy to think about how much I've changed since the beginning of this series while Anastasia stays the same miserable fart. So this is going to be part 3 of 4 of my Anastasia series. If you don't know who I'm talking about, save yourself. Run! Get out! Go! No, but seriously, if you don't know who I'm talking about, please go watch part 1, and part 2 is also up. Otherwise, this video is going to make no f***ing sense. And yeah, so, scram. Get out! Get out of here! And come back so that it makes sense. Anyways, before we get started, I have a Google form that I will be linking down below where you can give me content/topic suggestions for further deep dive videos because I enjoy doing this style of content. I'd love to make more of them, although I will not be doing true crime. Sorry. There's enough true crime makeup guru mukbangers out there using TikTok censorship language to cover these stories, and frankly, with just the nature of my video, you know, I'm the most familiar with comedy, so even doing this series, there's times where I might, like, crack a couple jokes, always making fun of Anastasia. But, you know, like, that's what I'm familiar with, right? So, like, a true crime, true crime, and me cover, yeah. Anyways, also, yes, I have been setting a little like goal for these videos, and I've like very drastically undersold myself, and I've just been here like, can we get 2 likes? And then I get like 50,000. So I'm gonna try to set like a more ambitious goal today. If this video gets 7,000, we can do that. Like can we do that? Okay, wait, yeah. Yeah! If this video gets 7,000 likes, I will take that as a sign that you guys like these videos for me and that you guys like deep dives for me and you want more content like this. And while you're down there, you know, in my little region of buttons is what I was gonna say. That's crazy. While you're there, if you want to check if you're subscribed, hit that little like button, maybe leave a comment. All of those things help push my videos in the algorithm because Anastasia does still have so many followers, and I think that it's just important to get the word out, I guess. You know, like if somebody who doesn't know about this situation even sees the thumbnail and title of my video on their homepage, like that might make them realize like, wait, I know who this is, and then they might look into that further. I've gotten a decent amount of comments that have been like, holy crap, I was literally following her and I had no idea that all of this was going on behind the scenes. She obviously doesn't talk about it. It's not like she's coming on here like, first day back from jail vlog, like, you know what I mean? As much as these videos getting pushed helps me, it also is just like general awareness. And yeah, so you're a bad person if you don't like and comment and subscribe. I'm just kidding. But yeah, any flipping ways. So now that I've gotten that little outro out of the way, get comfortable, take off your jackets with me. Before we get too far into this video, I just want to give a trigger warning for topics of abuse, verbal, physical, mental, and emotional, animal abuse, SA, doing sexual acts against unconscious and intoxicated people, racism, systemic oppression, and police brutality, self-harm, threats of suicide, outbursts of anger, and drug abuse. I will additionally try to give any warnings before showing any potentially triggering content. We are going to do a quick recap of all the substantial things that have happened in part 1 and part 2 of my Anastasia series. I am not going to go on a 26-minute long rant like I did last time. I'm going to do this in under 5 minutes tops. Okay, let's go. So, Anastasia Alexandra Athena Lennon, the woman with many names and many personalities, as some would say. Nobody said that. I'm the only one that said that. I just came up with that now. Do you like it? Okay, focus. Okay. Anastasia is a transgender, omnigender, TikTok/Instagram Reels influencer. She is diagnosed with BPD, CPTSD, ADHD, and she has described herself as an alcoholic. She's most well known for her fun fact videos in which she speaks in a comforting way, addressing her fans as Sweet Pea. She also describes herself as a mommy dommy, which was specifically relevant to the one victim we covered in my last video, Marcy. Marcy and Anastasia met up as friends, and Anastasia pressured Marcy the entire time to break up with their boyfriend for her, and then continuously overstepped their boundaries, notably saying that Marcy was clearly a submissive woman and needed a dommy mommy such as Anastasia, which Marcy never said or alluded to in any sort of fashion. After they grabbed food, they went to a local park where Anastasia tried to kiss them, and they didn't let her. But despite several no's and rejecting Anastasia's kiss, Anastasia went on to touch Marcy unconsensually and grab their butt and chest. And that is a very brief summary of what we talked about in the last video, but to go back to the start of the timeline where we first got a glimpse into Anastasia's problematic behavior was on September 26, 2024, when she spoke about being kicked out of her mom's house where she had been living while her mom was vacant. Anastasia's mom came home to find her house was trashed with holes in the walls and trash everywhere. She went upstairs to confront Anastasia to find her naked in bed with an actual partner. Anastasia screamed at her mother and allegedly threatened her life, so much so that her mother called the cops and proceeded to attempt to file a restraining order, but the charges were ultimately dropped. Maybe. Potentially. Speculation around that, but whatever. After being kicked out, Anastasia moved in with her partner at the time, Casey. They lived in a trailer together where the neighbor's dog kept coming around, in which Anastasia got her hopes up about adopting. She named him Apollo. Casey asked the landlord if they could keep the dog, and the landlord said no, because the neighbor's a drug dealer and it would be an unsafe environment. We find this out from Casey's video when she had to come forth because Anastasia was acting as if it was her dog that was stolen, and this is where we catch Anastasia's first web of lies, where she claims 3 entirely different reasons as to why the landlord said no and never elaborated on any of them. So anyways, Anastasia finds out that she can't keep the dog, and she wakes up Casey at 4 a.m. by screaming at her, and I mean screaming.
Fucking really mad about not having my goddamn dog! You know? And that's why I got fucking kicked out. Because I screamed like this about wanting my dog back!
And then, of course, Casey had to kick her out of the trailer in which she was living. While covering this topic, we also talked about Anastasia's video where she claims that dogs can consent to drinking alcohol. Yup. So, Anastasia kicked out of the trailer with Casey, and now she's homeless, but not for long because she raised $30,000 to buy herself a van in January. She got herself a place to live, but she's not doing well. She posted a video crying, saying that if you live in Oregon, please hit me up. I could really use a hug. Marcella, a fan of Anastasia, finds out that they live in the same state and comments on her post saying, I could be that hug. Anastasia sees her comment and drives to meet with Marcella, and they go on a date and end up hitting it off. And Anastasia stays the night at Marcella's for 4 days. On January 6, 2025, the anniversary of Marcella's dad's passing away, Anastasia notices Marcella's energy shift and asks her what her worries are about their relationship. Marcella says she's afraid things are moving too fast, which fair, and Anastasia gets triggered. Keep in mind, she relapsed on her drinking this day as well, and she screamed at Marcella relentlessly for hours until Marcella's ears were ringing and she was curled up in a ball begging Anastasia to stop. Anastasia finally leaves. On January 8th, Marcella posted a video talking about what happened with Anastasia, which Anastasia approved of her doing. It was that same day that Marcella called Anastasia to ask if she was okay given what happened a few days prior, and it was then that Anastasia said to Marcella, I'm gonna quit drinking for you. Marcella said, don't quit for me, quit for you. Which Anastasia took as Marcella encouraging her to drink, and she took that narrative and she ran with it. Ran with it where? Well, straight to TikTok Live, of course, where she claimed that Marcella encouraged her to drink, but also said that Marcella was making this all up for attention, and that she was being a big baby and a narcissist. She called her a narcissist many times, which we touched on the irony of that plenty in part 1 and part 2. And it's also where we got this clip of Anastasia.
Jesus Christ, have you ever considered that maybe I can lean into my emotions sometimes, and I'm not actually out of control? I'm just displaying how I feel, because that's my job! Like, yeah, I can choose to let the emotions out, so I do, because that's what you want to see. Right? You want to know how I feel, so I show you how I feel, and then you call it mental illness. You know what? No! This fury is justified, and the fact that you're uncomfortable by any anger doesn't mean that I'm actually out of control, and it doesn't mean that I'm gonna hurt you, especially since you're not even in the room with me.
Where I talked about what this means, and if when she has these angry screaming videos, whether or not she's playing it up for the camera, and whether she uses her ability to scream and yell as an intimidation tactic when she doesn't get what she wants. Just food for thought. But anyways, the next day after this angry live of hers, where she's calling Marcella all these names, Anastasia met up with Marcy, and well, that's when all of that stuff happened. Marcy spoke with Marcella after this incident and decided to come forth and post their video on January 11th detailing what Anastasia did to them. And it was on the same date that we got the biggest live crash out that we've ever seen yet, where Anastasia is addressing both Marcy and Marcella, screaming at Marcy to take her to court, you effing. She called Marcy a TERF. She called everyone against her fame piranhas and transphobic. She encouraged her hundreds and thousands of fans to go over there and harass Marcy and Marcella, which is such an abuse of power. And then she threatened to unalive herself in some sort of pitiful attempt to make people go easy on her, in my personal opinion. It was really a sight to see. And that brings us to our current place in our timeline of what we talked about in part 1 and part 2, minus some details. I wrapped up my last video saying that within a week or so after that live and multiple lives where she's screaming about Marcy and Marcella, she decided to try and leave it behind her, and she changes her username from Lexity to anyathena. This is a common tactic problematic influencers do to try to separate themselves from the allegations, because people will see the problematic clips or posts talking about a girl with the username Lexity, and then they'll go look up Lexity and nothing comes up, so therefore it's like an attempt at a clean slate. And so you would assume that Anastasia was changing her her username and everything, would try and change her ways and make amends and do better, but Lord, is that far from the truth, because just a couple weeks later, we get into what happened with the next victim on January 25th, which we are going to talk about now. Should I have dinner first, maybe? Fettuccine Alfredo break, 1 sec. Ew, listen to it. You know what that sounds like? Fettuccine Alfredo. Duh, what were you thinking? Okay, my fettuccine has been consumed. Hopefully I don't see anything that makes my food start to come back up.
Hi gorgeous, so this is me letting you know that I appreciate it when you view me in a sexual way. You absolutely have my permission to fantasize about me.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Sorry. You already know when I start joking and when I start like going off topic and stuff, I'm about to talk about something heavy as fuck, because like I'm trying to get any like lighthearted, happy, silly moments out of the way and like kind of have a preemptive palate cleanser, because it's about to get just like really bad. It's about to get really bad, guys. This is where I'll give the trigger warning for topics of SA and performing sexual acts on a intoxicated and unconscious person. Let's get into our next victim, Haley. So, Haley followed Anastasia from one of her lives, and Anastasia followed her back. Haley did animal taxidermy, which I guess was something that Anastasia was into, and Anastasia messaged Haley about this.
I met Anastasia on her stream. She ended up following me on Instagram. She told me that we could hang out. I told her I would teach her some of the taxidermy process, and everything seemed fine.
So, Haley and Anastasia made plans to meet up in 2 weeks. But I guess Anastasia was really excited after all of these heated lives to just get her mind off of all of this with some good old-fashioned taxidermy. That's how I cope. I don't know about you guys. So Anastasia, who is supposed to show up in 2 weeks, showed up in 2 days? Okay. So the date is January 25th, 2025. A random, unplanned day when Haley was literally busy and had company over already.
She told me it would take 2 weeks for her to get to me to visit. She showed up in 2 days, which really, really made me nervous. I had already had plans that day to hang out with some other friends as well.
Yeah, like that's wild to just day of, after being like, oh yeah, I'll be there in like 2 weeks-ish, and then 2 days later be like, I'm fucking here. Like what? Like, what? And then after showing up in 2 days, Anastasia has the nerve to get irritated by Haley not letting her in, despite Haley not knowing she was coming on this day.
So by the time she got here, I was already really drunk, and I had missed her call when she got here about twice. And I could tell she was getting upset. She sent me a bunch of messages. She's like, how am I supposed to get in? If you're not going to let me in, how am I supposed to see you? Are you going to let me in, or am I leaving? Am I leaving town? And I'm like, no, like, I'm like, come on, like, I'm going to try to help you find the place. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so like Haley's unequipped and unprepared for Anastasia to just show up like this. And Haley had been drinking prior to this, and by the time that Anastasia arrived, she described herself as blackout drunk.
We go inside. At this point, I am pretty much blacked out entirely. That's where like the night like ends for me, unfortunately, and picks up again a little bit later at a very scary, frightening, confusing time.
So basically what Haley's saying here is that she blacks out, like no memory, recollection, and then doesn't have any memories. I don't know if you guys drink, if you guys have been blackout, but it's literally like switching through dimensions, especially the next day when you're recalling the night. You're like, oh, I remember getting there, and then I remember 3 hours later, but I don't remember anything in between. So like basically Anastasia gets there, she remembers that, and then she blacks out and doesn't come to until later on in the night after passing out, and then waking up to something disgusting that we're going to get into momentarily. So there's like a large blank space in Haley's memories during this time. We do have this picture that was taken in between when Haley gets Anastasia, and then when Haley wakes up to what we're going to talk about, we have this picture that was taken that Haley doesn't even remember taking. As you can see here, no shade. I mean, Haley said it herself, but like, she looks fucking drunk. You know, like her eyes are literally, this is no shade. She says this herself. Her eyes are going in two different directions. She's kind of like she's black, like you can so clearly tell. And just the body language in this picture makes me sick, like knowing how drunk Haley was and how like all over it Anastasia is. Like, I remember a time where I was drinking with some friends. I was the DD for them, which means I obviously wasn't drinking. And this guy that was there, he wanted to kiss me. And I spoke with him for 20 minutes about how even if I like him, even if he likes me, I can always just kiss him tomorrow when he's sober, because I don't feel comfortable engaging in something like that with someone who's intoxicated. When our friends are intoxicated, we keep our hands to ourselves. When strangers are intoxicated, we keep our hands to ourselves. And that may bother some people in the comments, and I'm not here to make you feel guilty for not fully understanding a discussion with a lot of nuance to it. And, you know, it becomes especially great if you're both drunk. But there's just a general rule of thumb going forward if you would like to ensure that you can be a better and more comfortable person to be around, and that is when others or yourself are drunk, it is always best to keep your hands to yourself. That will literally always be a safe bet, especially if you know that you are in a more sober space than they are. If they're being touchy with you and stuff like that, you don't have to engage in that. You don't have to like play into it and like do whatever the Anastasia is doing with Haley in this photo. Anastasia is not drunk. She was just driving. She was just driving. Unless she was driving drunk, she's not drunk. She may have started drinking when she got there, but alcohol doesn't kick in that quickly unless she took 14 shots the second she got there. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into like that further and like why Anastasia literally incriminates herself. Like, she recalls every single detail that happened that night, so like she wasn't drunk, you know? And like there's this like very obviously intoxicated person who like whether or not like no matter who was being touchy first, it's like you just met this person, so let's maybe keep our hands to ourselves, especially considering the fact that her girlfriend's literally right there. Her girlfriend's the one that took the photo. Like, anyways, yes, right, the next part in my script literally talks about how Haley mentions having a girlfriend, the girl in the photo, which is like it's just so shameless. Like, she does not give a fuck. You guys don't know fully what I'm talking about yet, but you will right now. So like I said, Anastasia gets there, Haley recalls this, she blacks out, and then she wakes up to, well...
So fast forward, I wake up on the couch, and Anastasia has her head on my lap. And she's like sniffing my crotch. I hear her like, her head is on my lap, and her hand is like on my, like sort of like moving around a little bit.
Okay, I'm going off script for a second. I want you guys to really truly think about what Haley just described. She blacked out, passed out, asleep, not awake, fully not awake, and wakes up to Anastasia touching her, like doing a sexual act to her. And like even like you can see in the video, like from what Haley shows, the hand motion of what Anastasia was doing. She was like, Anastasia was like trying to not like please her because she was asleep, but like, you know, she was doing the sexual act that you do with women to her while she was sleeping. Also, like her head, like waking up to oh my god, like waking up to Anastasia's head in between her legs, sniffing her crotch and touching her crotch. I don't like what like weird, like everything's weird. Why are you sniffing her also? You've like you're so weird. You're so weird. Also, if drunk people can't consent, sleeping people absolutely cannot. Hello? There's There's no way to not be able to tell when someone's sleeping. You can make the argument. Oh, I didn't know that she was that drunk, or oh, I was drinking too, or oh, I was this, oh, I was that, oh, I'm a piece of shit and I'm trying to excuse my fucking horrible and appalling actions. Arguments, you know? There's no way to not tell when someone's asleep. like nobody ever says the argument, oh, I didn't know she was asleep, because like that's not even conceivable. Like you obviously know when someone is sleeping like that. Sorry, I'm just looking at my script. Anastasia is so fucking vile. Like there's not even a word. Let me look up synonyms for disgusting. Disgusting synonyms. I'm not even being funny. I'm like genuinely there. Revolting, repelling, repulsive, sickening, stomach churning, unpalpable. I can't do that one. Foul. That's a good one. What's this word?
Execrable.
Execrable? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, she is. Anyways, Haley then goes on to talk about how after she woke up and Anastasia was touching her, she got up and left to go smoke and to get away. And Anastasia's following her and being all touchy with her while following her.
So I get up to go smoke some weed, and she gets behind me and she's like caressing my back. She's like, you have such soft, smooth skin. Like, you're giving me such mixed signals, baby. Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I have a girlfriend.
You're giving me such mixed signals, baby. What are we going to do about that? And the mixed signals are her waking up to you touching her and then her getting up and walking away.
Huh?
What a creep, by the way. You're giving me such... And, like, you know that she said that. Like, Like, her whole Dommy, mommy, whatever, the shit. All the videos I showed you guys of her sexually charged videos, the way that she talks about this stuff, her, like, cadence, and, like you know that she said that, and I'm just, like, that's so appalling, or, execrable is what it is. I'm not going to use that word. I don't fucking know how to pronounce that. Don't worry, though. It gets worse. So in true Anastasia fashion, she hears the words, I have a partner, and that just really gets her going, I guess. It just activates something in her, I guess, as what we found out from 2 instances now. And she goes on, like, after Haley says, I have a girlfriend, she tries to kiss Haley.
You're giving me such mixed signals, baby. Like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know. I have a girlfriend. And it just goes back and forth for a while. She goes like this to kiss me, and I go like back like this. And I go like back like this because I don't know that we've already apparently kissed before when I was blackout drunk.
Anastasia kissed. I know that we found out like what she was doing while she was sleeping, but like Anastasia kissed Haley when she was blackout drunk. Blackout to the point that when she wakes up, she has no recollection of ever kissing her and is rejecting Anastasia because that's what's true to her. She doesn't want anything to do with Anastasia. That just goes to show how f***ed up she had to be, like how intoxicated she had to be. Let me paint this picture, okay? Haley's blackout drunk. Lets Anastasia in the house. The photos were taken, and there's a couple hours where Haley is completely blackout drunk to the point that she passed out. And then she woke up slightly more sober, because she had been sleeping for however long, to Anastasia with her head in between her legs, touching her down there. Woke up to that. So, like, what if she hadn't woke up sooner? You know, like, I'm so sorry for what I'm insinuating. But, like, I'm insinuating exactly kind of, like, what this is. What happened. What we know. What if she hadn't woke up then and there? I don't know. None of us know. Like, and this is gross to say and to think about, but it's the realities of the situation. Like, how much further would have Anastasia gone? How far did Anastasia go when she was sleeping? You know? And, like, I'm sorry to insinuate that, but I don't know what else could have potentially happened while Haley was asleep. And I know I shouldn't speculate, but Haley woke up to her touching her. These are uncomfortable words to say, but this is the type of person that we're dealing with here. Yeah. Anyways. So Haley wakes up, right? The picture. Haley wakes up, gets up, and Anastasia's being flirty, touching her. Oh, you have such soft skin. Oh, you're sending me such mixed signals, baby. What are we gonna do about that? And Haley's like, I have a girlfriend. I don't know what we're gonna do about that, but I have a girlfriend. And then Anastasia tries to kiss her, and Haley has no idea that Anastasia already kissed her in that period in which Haley was blackout. So the mixed signals that Anastasia was referring to was when Haley is somewhat in a slightly more sober headspace, she's like showing zero interest in Anastasia, but when she's sleeping, she's not saying I have a girlfriend because she's asleep. And when she's absolutely belligerently drunk, she let Anastasia kiss her. She probably didn't even know like what was going on. Like she was literally like blackout, like to the point where like she was throwing up until the next day drunk. You know, like that's alcohol poisoning, by the way. This is Texas Tech University. Alcohol poisoning occurs under the same circumstances as blacking out. When an individual excessively drinks, there is a point in which the alcohol in our system exceeds our personal max and becomes toxic to our body. A person who has experienced a blackout has changed how their brain processes memories. That alone in a situation is scary. In addition, having a blood alcohol concentrate high enough to cause a blackout means that that person has also had a loss of impulse control, attention, decision-making ability, and judgment, and that would have also been a heightened risk for injuries due to impaired coordination, may have suffered from alcohol poisoning. Long-term drinking at this level creates blackouts that can lead to long-term damage to a person's brain and other organs, as well as alcohol use disorders. What's the citation for this? You guys have talked to me about AI, the AI overview that comes up when you Google stuff. I want to make it clear that I do check all the citations linked and I read those as well. The only reason why I use the AI overview is because it provides like a short excerpt of what I'm referring to rather than like an entire article that has the points over the span of like several paragraphs. Just so you guys know that I do second check all my sources. I'm looking at My Health Alberta and HNHU.org. Yes, passing out is a symptom of alcohol poisoning. While it can also be a symptom of drinking too much, passing out is a medical emergency because the body's function, especially breathing and heart rate, are dangerously suppressed, leading to a high risk of choking, coma, or even death. If someone passes out from drinking, you're literally supposed to call 911. Like, I'm not talking sleeping. Like, if someone passes out from drinking, you are supposed to call 911. Just letting you guys know. So yeah, like imagine one of your friends, imagine a complete stranger, hell, passed out from drinking. And instead, like, literally seeing them as an object over their own health and safety, as if they're like a fucking flashlight. Doing sexual acts to them while they're asleep, and you literally don't know if they're okay. That's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're looking at here. That's what Anastasia did. Anastasia, I don't have words for you, Anastasia. I'm not talking to you. I haven't looked up enough synonyms. Jesus Christ. Let's go on. So yeah, like I was saying, Haley wakes up to that. She gets up. She's like, I'm gonna go smoke, whatever. Anastasia is following her, touching her.
Oh, you have such soft skin. You're giving me such mixed signals, baby. What are we gonna do about that?
Fucking creepo. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Those are my words for Anastasia. Giving me such mixed signals. And then Haley says, I have a girlfriend. And then Anastasia tries to kiss her. And then she pulls away because she hadn't known that she would have pulled away either way, but she talks about how she hadn't known that they had already kissed. So I guess at some point, to ease the tension, Haley tries to make some joke about how she's going to steal Anastasia's van. This is like a little bit later on, whatever. Right. So like obviously a joke, like Haley's not going to steal your van. Like what? And this triggered Anastasia for some reason, and then Anastasia gets angry and starts making fun of the way that Haley looks.
And this is where the van comment comes in, where I make a stupid joke about how I stole your van even though I'm right next to her the whole time, and she insults me to my face. I already wrote about that on Reddit. I really don't feel like talking about it again.
Okay, so we're gonna check out the Reddit post. I'm just gonna quickly summarize it. February 15th, about 3 weeks after the altercation, Haley first spoke up on Reddit saying, when Anastasia came to visit me, there was an instance where she blew up on me because I made a joke and I went, hee hee, I stole your van. Meanwhile, I've been right next to her the whole entire night, so how could I have stolen her van? She proceeds to scream at me saying, how dare you even joke about that? You are such a small fucking weak person. You are so fucking small. I can like hear Anastasia's voice in cadence with this, by the way. Like, what if I said to you, your face is disgusting and your jaw is too big? I paused, Haley paused, said, why would you say that to me? And she responded, I needed to make you feel as hurt as you made me feel with the van joke. She's literally been sitting next to you, and Anastasia like said in her response, I needed to make you feel as hurt as you made me feel with the van joke. Like Anastasia, like any person with like half a functioning brain, which like I don't even know if Anastasia has, but she has enough of one to understand that it's a joke because she literally acknowledges that it was a joke. Like everybody knows that it was a joke. And she goes on in her story, like in her Reddit post, and she says another instance is she also said, I can do anything I want, to which I said, oh, and I can't? And she said, you can't, but you won't. And then she proceeded to tell me to run away with her in her van and start a corn career with her, as if that's the anything I can do with my life. Like, okay, so like context, Anastasia was being like, I can do anything I want, like with my life or whatever. And Haley's like, I can't. And Anastasia is like, you can, but you won't. And then she's like, if you could do anything with your life, why don't you go ahead and start a corn career with me?
Huh?
As if, like, that's what Haley wants to do with her life. Like, that's what she's holding back from doing. Like, that's... What? Very ambitious dreams there, Anastasia. I think you're the only person that's thinking or saying that. That's fucking weird. Okay, so that's the Reddit post about the van comment, and then also the extra little thing where Anastasia said the whole, like, run away with me. If you could do anything in your life, prove it. Run away with me. Start a corn career. Bet you won't. But, yeah, there's more to the Reddit post, but before we get to the rest of it, we do have to watch the rest of Haley's story for it to make more sense. So we're just gonna pivot back and continue watching Haley's story, and then I'll get to the rest of the Reddit post later. But that's the comment that Haley was referring to when she said that there was a comment about the van that was made and that she posted about it on Reddit. So yeah, that's how that altercation went with the whole van comment. And like, also I go on to write, I already made this point, but like I can just hear Anastasia saying the words, you are such a small, weak part. Like I can hear the cadence. You are so small. And that's definitely not an out of character comment from her. Like, I don't know. I think of it like, if any of you guys don't believe any aspects of Haley's story, how would she come up with that? Like, such specific ways in wording that fits how Anastasia talks perfectly. Like, I don't know, that hits the nail on the head to me. Not that I had any inclination to not believe her, but, you know. She also, by the way, while delivering these lines, while saying you are such a small and fucking weak person, you are so fucking small, was screaming at her, which Haley described as terrifying. Like, we all know, all of you guys watching, we know exactly how Anastasia was screaming. Like, Haley describing that as horrifying, like, yeah. Again, like, actually, like, try to think out the scenario in your head, like let that paint a picture for you, like what was actually going on. Like think about how Anastasia screams, because that's how she was screaming at Haley, just because she made a fucking joke about, oh, I'm gonna steal your van, haha. God. So she also says this excruciating thing. Oh, and remember the weird dommy mommy persona that Anastasia tries to have and force on others when they show vulnerability, such as sadness or uncomfortableness. She likes to headcanon them as a submissive because they're uncomfortable because of her.
When I was crying after she insulted me to my face and told me that my face is disgusting and that my jaw is too big, I was crying and shaking. And I ended up saying that I really want to hug my mother and my father because I'm originally from North Carolina and I moved here when I was 18. I just turned 26. And when I said that, she wrapped her arms around me and she said, yeah, I'm mommy and daddy. And I'm like, no. I'm talking about, like, my parents. I want to hug my parents.
I am mommy and... Guys, I have goosebumps. Are you able to see? Are you able to focus on my arm? I'm like so grossed out. I don't know if this happens to you guys either. Can you even see my goosebumps? I have them. By the way, I just Googled why I get goosebumps when I like cringe at something. And I'm finding out that it's a fight or flight response. My amygdala is having a reaction and it's activating my goosebumps. Anastasia is saying, I'll be your mommy and your daddy. Literally triggered my fight or flight. It apparently like reset my brain too because I can't speak fucking words. But it literally triggered my fight or flight response. Like that is so like something that is kind of a theme with Anastasia is that she's just like a dog. Like she's a pervert, you know? Like she's really weird and perverted and like can't be serious and just like sexualizes all of her interactions that she has with people. Also, somebody made this point to me in my comment section about how Anastasia is likely into, I can't say the specific thing on YouTube, but like people playing an age younger than they are. Put the two words together. You know what I'm talking about. She's likely into that and how she might intentionally, and I fully believe this, how she might intentionally trigger people, scream at people, evoke fear in people with the intention of making them age regress so that Anastasia can turn around and mommy them and be like, oh, don't worry, mommy's here. Like, I'm mommy and daddy. I'll be your mom. Like, you know what I mean? And not only trauma bond with them, because that's what she's doing. She's evoking fear and trauma in people and then turning around and being the one that comforts them. That's how you form a trauma bond. But she does this deliberately with the intention of making them age regress so that she can mommy them. And I think not only is that very true and very accurate, but I think even furthermore, even if she's not talking to somebody who experiences age regression, I think she sees it all as the same category to her. I think she sees age regressing and crying and being vulnerable, shutting down, being uncomfortable, being shy, etc. as the exact same category, that category being submissive. And I think she sexualizes the entire experience, start to finish. Every single stepping stone that leads up to that moment in which she gets her way and she gets to mommy them, and the moment in which she gets to mommy them is a actual thing to her. She does this deliberately with actual intentions in mind. We have seen it with every single victim here. There is no way you cared that much about that van comment. I think you used that as an excuse to yell at Haley so that she could shut down, so that you could have your opportunity. After you saw that she was rejecting you when she was more sober, you wanted the opportunity for her to shut down so that you could turn around and comfort her. And not to mention, when I say comfort her, I'm talking about a weird actual thing that she has in mind. And yeah, I think when it comes to her actual preferences, she's very calculated. And if a person's not submitting to her, she will literally cause a traumatizing situation that puts that person in a naturally submissive state because she sees being vulnerable or shutting down, etc., as submissive. Right? So when that person's not submitting, she makes them by being fucking scary. And it's all actual to her. It's all an actual thing. Yeah. She also said this.
Another thing is that anytime I would have a disagreement with Anastasia, she would completely disregard everything I was saying to her. She would look at me and she would scream, "Stop bratting. You're bratting right now. Stop bratting." Even though I've told her multiple times that I'm not a submissive. When I told her that, she said, "That's not true. You just need I know what you need. You just need a mommy like me. Like, I'm mommy and daddy." She said that to me twice. She was essentially like disregarding like my preferences and trying to, I guess because she likes how I look or like wanted to have sex with me, that she wanted me to be submissive to her in the way that she wanted to, even though I'm not as submissive at all. She also told me that because she is a trans woman and a minority, that all cis women should be submissive to her.
Okay. We're not gonna get into that last sentence right now. Don't even get me fucking started on the misogyny. Holy shit, we're not even getting started that. But like to pretend that she didn't say that last sentence because we're not getting into that right now. But like, by the way, if you don't know a brat in terms of the BDSM community is a type of submissive who engages in playful defiance, backtalk, and intentional disobedience to challenge their dominant partner. This behavior is a consensual part of the dynamic designed to create tension, excitement, and a chase, rather for them to genuinely disrespect or break boundaries. So like, again, with Anastasia just like really aggressively like objectifying her, and like, you know, I talked about how like when she was passed out drunk, like how Anastasia literally disregarded her safety, her physical health and wellness, and instead took the opportunity to touch her inappropriately while she was blackout drunk. She also just like Haley's not allowed to have an opinion or say anything disagreeing with Anastasia. Imagine that. Imagine like someone who's like genuinely like a really up bad person and you're trying to like stand up against them and they're just like weirdly turned on by it. Like like, hey, like I'm not like I'm not like a walking flashlight. Like I'm like a person. Like a person. Like she's like a person, you know? Like, you know, she's like a person. I know that you think that cis women are inherently submissive to trans people. That explains a lot, honestly. Not gonna lie. That does explain a bit more, and that does make sense. We covered her misogyny in part 2 and how she was like going on this whole tangent about how cis women suck, about how she likes to create this like power dynamic situation, how she tries to paint herself as like the oppressed because she's trans, cis women as the oppressor, and therefore she invalidates Marcy's pronouns and refers to Marcy as she, her, when Marcy is non-binary. They go by they, them pronouns, because if she acknowledged that Marcy also faces oppression for their gender identity, then it wouldn't feed this like little hate campaign that she has been running against cis women. And that doesn't surprise me, that other thing. And also this perfectly aligns with Marcy's story. Literally trying to force this kink title, trying to force this submissive title onto the person that does not align with what you're trying to label them as and isn't consenting. I keep going off my script in a very non-cohesive way. So I wrote a point about the whole cis women thing, so I'm going to refresh you guys on that clip in case you wanted to hear it again. So
she also told me that because she is a trans woman and a minority, that all cis women should be submissive to.
This is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Hello. Sorry. I thought this was a chocolate one. It's Coca-Cola. Hello. Sorry. So sorry. Let's watch.
She also told me that because she is a trans woman and a minority, that all cis women should be submissive to her because she's a trans minority, regardless of their preference.
So, like, this is what I say when I mean, or this is what I mean when I say, God, like, wake up. Hello. This is what I say when I mean, there is no way in hell that Haley could have came up with that, right? Like, how could one come up with this specific type of shit that Anastasia does say, you know, the cadence and the language? Like, how does one even come up with that, right? Also, talk about grandiose self-image. Shall we, cis women at home, should we all bow, folks? Would you all care to join me on my knees while I bow down to the almighty minority trans woman taking her power back from the privileged oppressor that is cis women? Like, all hail fucking Anastasia. All hail Anastasia. We'll get to the Onision stuff in a second. I saw the comparisons, and she actually talks about that herself, because this isn't the first time she's gotten Onision comparisons. But let's keep on with Haley's story for now. So, anyways, keep in mind that Anastasia drove hella far to go randomly visit Haley. So now, Haley has to host her, in a sense, like give her a place to stay. Otherwise, she would have nowhere to go, and you know that she'd start even more drama about that.
So, we had planned for Anastasia to sleep on the guest, like, fold-out futon that we have here. But I told her she had to sleep on the couch because she really upset me and hurt my feelings.
This was after she, like, said that Haley has a big jaw and is like ugly and all of this stuff because she made a joke about the van. And then Haley says this.
I woke up the next day, I was vomiting, she starts streaming, and she gets mad that I make a joke, and I say the word prostitution on her stream, and she insists that I said it on purpose to get her stream banned, which I definitely did not. Would not do that. I apologize profusely, and she does not care.
Like, Anastasia is just so fucking weird. I'll get into that in a second, but do note that, like, if I haven't given and shown a million reasons as to why Haley was literally dangerous levels of drunk, like so blackout drunk, like she was so drunk the previous night that she woke up and was still vomiting. The only time that's ever happened to me was when I literally got alcohol poisoning. I had alcohol poisoning. That is the only time that that's ever happened to me, when I was vomiting all the way into the next day. And, like, I'm not insinuating necessarily that she did or that she didn't. Obviously, like, there's warning signs that she, like, definitely checked off some of them. And, you know, the more sober person in the room, Anastasia, should have maybe considered her health in any sort of way. But, whatever. It paints more of a picture of how twisted Anastasia is. Like, when you're that drunk, falling everywhere, slurring your words. Like I said, you can see it in her eyes that she's not there, and you take advantage of that moment to kiss her, and then she passes out, falls asleep, and you start touching her. I know I keep going back to that story, but I don't think enough people really like visualize and comprehend what actually occurs in instances like that. Like it's so twisted. So yeah, Anastasia is also a weirdo. That's the end of my video. That's my conclusion. She's a fucking weirdo. No, okay. Anastasia's a weirdo because what do you mean? Haley was vomiting into the next morning and Anastasia's like, time to stream. Hey guys. Like, what's up guys? Welcome to my live stream. Don't mind my friend who's fighting for her life in the fucking back. Like, there's a screenshot from that live stream, by the way, where you can see Haley in the back. Like, not doing well. Like, it's not like Anastasia was streaming and Haley was, like, in the upstairs washroom or whatever. Like, she is in the background, not doing well. Also, to get mad at her for saying the word prostitution and accuse her of intentionally trying to get your stream banned, like, the average person wouldn't assume that words like that might get a stream banned. Like, how would she know that? Also, Anastasia, you talk about SA. Alcoholism. You scream and swear and operate power tools with no safety equipment. You tattooed yourself with a rinky-dink needle and no fucking gloves, which we'll get into later. And you insinuate that you're gonna unalive yourself on stream, and you're mad at her for saying the word prostitute. Like, she just causes problems. After Haley said prostitution on Anastasia's live stream, Anastasia has another. I don't know what all these little fuzzies are. She's got the underworld pissed off too. There's orbs flying around. So yeah, Haley says the word prostitution. Oh my god! How dare she? She's trying to get you canceled, Anastasia. She's trying to take away your source of income. Oh my god. And so Anastasia has another blow up and storms out of the house, and I guess that's how their little hangout ended. Haley also made another post on Reddit about this specific situation. I know I said I was going to read the rest of that first Reddit post later. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about that. We just haven't gotten to the part of the video where the rest of the first Reddit post is relevant. Yeah, so I'm going to cut to me reading a different Reddit post from Haley where she's elaborating on the whole prostitution comment whatever situation. The reason Anastasia abruptly left my home and ended this live stream. In this live stream, Anastasia starts streaming while I'm violently hungover from a blackout I had while we hung out until 5 a.m. the night before, and I prefer to not be on camera. Vomiting, dry heaving all morning. I am a recovering alcoholic, but when Anastasia told me it would take her 2 weeks to get to me to visit, and then she showed up in only 2 days, I was incredibly anxious and nervous about it, and I did start drinking immediately to cope with the stress of it all. It's not her fault that I took that drink. It's only mine. That's very mature of Haley. We know that when Anastasia drinks, she'll blame fucking anybody in sight for it. She takes a shower in my bathroom and then comes out and resumes the stream where she left it off. I didn't even realize she had started the stream again. At this point, like, if you're streaming around someone, maybe like give them a little warning. Like maybe give them a little warning. What? Okay. At this point, from the way she had insulted me to my face the night before over a joke, the van joke, I'd planned to keep my mouth shut more or less and let my partner keep the conversations going with her instead, because I felt I was walking on eggshells and that anything I said may upset her and trigger a rage reaction. I'm naturally very sarcastic and make jokes pretty much all the time, which have never been poorly received until I met Anastasia, because her jokes are so clearly jokes and Anastasia is just looking for the opportunity to lash out at someone, apparently. After her shower, she sits down in the living room with us, and I notice that she has 2 phones. So I make a joke about the Mike Sherm lyrics to his song, I got 2 phones, one for the plug and one for the hose. I thought she liked the jokes because she laughed and agreed, saying, and sometimes the phones are switched and this one's only for money and this one's for hose. I continue joking about it poorly, saying, haha, and if they were the same phone, it would be called prostitution. At this point, her face changes and she's pissed, and she says, no, it's not. Well, yeah, like she knows that it's not. And then ends the stream. She starts crying, saying that she's gonna leave and that she can never trust me or anyone ever on her live streams again, and Twitch means the world to her, and how could I put her Twitch account in jeopardy? Bro, maybe, like, if you're gonna stream in front of someone, maybe give them a little, like, first of all, tell them that you're streaming in the first place, but second of all, give them a little warning here, hey, by the way, like, you can't say these words on this specific stream or whatever. I'm pretty sure you can say the word prostitution. Let me Google it. Yeah. Yes, you can use the word, yes, you can say the word prostitution. As long as you're not, like, engaging or promoting it. Okay, cool. Got it. So, what are we talking about? I apologized profusely, telling her I was just joking, that it would never happen again, and I didn't know that her stream was recording my voice at the time. She says, you're not fucking sorry. And I apologize again. She says, your apology means nothing to me. I can tell you're not fucking sorry. I ask her if my partner and I can hug her goodbye, and she says, Sky can, but not you, Haley. I'm very upset with you right now. No hugs for you. She then stays in my parking lot for around 3 hours and then leaves. Okay, she just went to sulk in her fucking van, alright? No matter how many times I apologized to her, it fell on deaf ears. Later, she even said that I didn't apologize at all, which is a bold-faced lie. And the last time I spoke with her, she continued to hold it over my head that I made this joke on her live, insisting that I did it on purpose to get her Twitch banned. Not true. What can I do other than apologize, Anastasia? I mean, really. Okay, so that's the second post that Haley posted about that situation. So, after all of this occurred, similar to many victims in general, I would actually say it is more common for a victim to not fully, like, reflect and understand the gravity of something that happened. That's why, like, a lot of the times in these scenarios, like, when someone's actively at your house and your body's kind of actively, literally in that state of, like, fight or flight, it is so much less likely for you to, in the moment, be like, oh my gosh, fuck you, get out. And so it is very common for victims to, like, you know, after they're away from that person and they have time to reflect about that, that's when they kind of realize, like, the gravity of it. Right? I don't know why that concept has kind of been construed as, like, a non-perfect victim scenario, when that's quite literally, I think, more common than not. You know, people will say the whole, like, why didn't you then and there tell them to leave, or blah, 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 right? Like, it kind of takes our brains time to process stuff. Super glad that you've been so privileged to not have experienced that, you know? It's just like an ignorant take, but I'm rambling. And so Haley was texting with Anastasia following their hangout, and they were, like, kind of friendly, whatever, like normal conversation, I guess. Once Haley kind of realized the gravity of what happened, she actually did something really smart, in my opinion. It's sad that she had to resort to this, and it's sad that she talks about how she's had experiences in the past that kind of set her up to have this knowledge about what to do in these scenarios, or how to, like, get information from somebody. But nonetheless, like, it was a smart approach what she did. Instead of blocking Anastasia or getting mad at her, since she was blackout drunk, she was still unsure of the full details of what happened that night, and she knew that Anastasia wasn't that drunk, and she remembered that night. So before deciding to cut Anastasia off for good, she decided to call Anastasia and kind of egg her on, acting as if she was into it and like, oh yeah, tell me more, what else did you do to me? And Anastasia an idiot. Also, like, so egotistical. Like, obviously Anastasia is gonna be like, oh hell yeah, like she's into this horrible thing that I did. Everybody loves me. Like, you know, that wouldn't be hard for Anastasia to believe, right? But, you know, like, tell me more. What else did you do to me? Like, what else did we do? Blah blah blah. And Anastasia fell for it and revealed so much more information to her about what happened that night.
I found out what happened to me. I asked Anastasia about it, and I felt like she would only give me information if I phrased it in a way that was like, oh, I'm interested, or, oh, tell me more because I like it. So that's what I did, and that's how I got the information out of her. I asked her what happened and, like, all of that. And gathering information, collection. I've unfortunately had to do it before.
And after that phone call where Haley got the full details of everything that happened by egging Anastasia on to fucking literally admit to everything, she blocked her. And, like, I don't know. It's nice to hear about Anastasia, like, getting manipulated a little bit into something like that. Like, I use the word manipulation, obviously, like, not in a negative light here. Like, obviously, Haley had to resort to manipulating Anastasia and making Anastasia think that she was into it to literally reveal the details that Haley could not recall because she was blackout drunk. And so, you know, they have that call. Haley blocks her. Obviously, Anastasia realized after the call, like, oh shit, like, oh wait, like, Haley just blocked me. She actually, like, is not into the fact that I unconsensually touched her while she was asleep. I swear to God, only Anastasia would fall for that. And so when Anastasia, like, sees that Haley blocks her, what does she do? She tries to beat Haley to saying anything about it by telling her audience lies about Haley.
I blocked her, and she started saying that I was trying to stab her or harass her. Not true.
So this is where we can talk about the second part of Haley's Reddit post that we were reading earlier. In the second part of her post, she basically elaborates on the fact that Anastasia accused her of trying to stab her, and she talks about that whole situation. That's why I didn't read that earlier, but I'm now going to cut to a clip of me reading the rest of that post now. A few nights ago, before I blocked her, I was talking to her through video chat on IG for a few hours. She ended up asking me, have you ever peed yourself, Haley? I said, fuck yeah, you did. Oh, I'm, like, actually dumb. Have you ever peed yourself? Like, I just rolled with it because I was like, yeah, Anastasia is fucking weird. She would ask something like that. No, okay, sorry, okay. A few nights ago, before I blocked her, before Haley blocked her, she was talking to her through video chat on Instagram for a few hours. Anastasia ended up asking her, have I ever pissed you off, Haley? I said, fuck yeah, you did actually, when you asked me if I was stonewalling you when I took a pause after you verbally abused me, and I was so upset that I was fantasizing in my head what it would be like to physically hurt you. I think Haley said that. I was fantasizing in my head about what it would be like to physically hurt you. Aren't we all? I think we've all had that thought about Anastasia. Jesus, that's kind of funny. I would never do that, but you did upset me to that degree. Basically what Haley's saying here, she calls Anastasia. Anastasia is like, have I ever pissed you off? She's like, yes, you did when you asked me if I was stonewalling you. So I guess Anastasia asked Haley if Haley was stonewalling her, when Haley just simply, like, needed a little break from Anastasia because Anastasia really upset her. And then Haley goes on to write, I've never seen anyone or been in a physical altercation before my 26 years of life. Give me a f***ing break. I never threatened to Anastasia point blank. Okay, yeah, that's the rest of Haley's Reddit post. Haley said in her video that Anastasia goes on to accuse her of stabbing her. We haven't gotten to Anastasia's responses yet, but I just figured I should show the rest of the Reddit post now and provide that context now to kind of preemptively clear the air, because when Anastasia starts spouting her bullshit, it can get a little confusing to get all strung up in Anastasia's web of fuckery. So, yeah, we're going to continue watching Haley's video now.
She started saying that I was trying to stab her or harass her. Not true. She was saying that I sexually harassed her on the phone call.
I fucking hate when perpetrators try to pull the, like, no, you card. Like, what do you mean she sexually... And that's the exact thing. Anastasia knows that she's guilty. She knows exactly what she did. This just goes to show so much more that Anastasia knows exactly what she did, that when Haley blocked her, Anastasia was like, shit, I know exactly what to try to say to get ahead of this. I'm aware that I sexually assaulted her, so I'm going to claim that she sexually harassed me. You know, like it kind of goes to show that like she knows exactly what she did. And so that's why she preemptively, before Haley even came out with a video, was like, no, she sexually harassed me, and hell, she threatened to stab me. Like, you know, let me hear this.
You're saying that I sexually harassed her on the phone call? How can I be the one sexually harassing you when you are flashing me your and your dick on the video call and I'm sexually harassing you? I fucking don't, generally don't.
So that's interesting to know. That was obviously the same phone call that Haley and her had before Haley blocked her, where she comes to find out even more details from that night. Details that she wouldn't have ever in her life known about. Like stuff that she did, you know, that she would have never known about if she wasn't told about it. And if she hadn't like twisted it and kind of manipulated the situation into Anastasia telling her.
I end up finding out that Anastasia says that while I was blackout drunk, she sucked on my boobs, and I don't remember this happening at all. Kissing, making out, and she sucked on my boobs. She said that I did that to her as well. I just don't think that I would. It could be a lie.
And you know what? That's a good point. Since Anastasia is the only one with any recollection of that night, Anastasia really can just make up anything, even though Anastasia thinks that Haley's like into it in that moment. While they're on the phone, Haley's all like, oh, tell me more, what else did we do? Like, you know, like egging her on to think that she's like into it. Even then, Anastasia knows and probably doesn't want to say out loud like, oh, I did this to you first and I only did this to you, you didn't do this to me back. Like Anastasia knows not to say out loud that like she's the only one that engaged in those sexual behaviors with Haley or doing these things to Haley. Nonetheless, Anastasia, knowing full well that Haley has no recollection, could just be like, yeah, you started doing this to me and then I did it back. And then I did it back. You know, because Anastasia knows not to admit, knows not to say those words out loud. And Anastasia honestly probably got her story straight the second that she left that house of like how she's gonna retell that story, because she knows that Haley couldn't remember it. So yeah, like I truly believe in my heart of hearts, like if Haley thinks that that's something that's extremely out of character for her, like that very well easily could have not happened. And Anastasia was just saying that to make it seem like both parties were more involved than they were, to try to insinuate that something was more consensual than it was, even though nonetheless, even if both parties were involved, there in no way was consensual. Haley was literally blackout drunk, like in danger type territory of drunk, and Anastasia was sober. So, on that call, Anastasia also says this.
And then she tried to blackmail me and say that we're no longer going to be friends at all unless you make a video discrediting all the victims and yourself. Like, tell them that you sexually harassed me and that I never sexually harassed anyone at all, like, or abused anyone or anything like that, even though there's proof of it.
Make a video. Okay, first of all, what kind of blackmail is that? We're not gonna be friends anymore, okay? like, and also egotistical, literally, like as if Anastasia is that fucking important, as if she's not literally like a burden and a parasite in everybody's lives, and everybody has been better off before they knew them and after they no longer had contact with her, you know? But like, we're not going to be friends anymore unless you make a video discrediting all the victims and saying that you sexually harassed me. Imagine being in a scenario like that where somebody rapes or sexually assaults you and then they try to blackmail you, not even to not speaking about your story. Like, it's not even like she's blackmailing her into not talking about her story, but blackmailing her into saying that she sexually harassed Anastasia. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Okay, so Haley also says this.
Something I failed to mention is that while I was drunk, Anastasia did end up hugging my girlfriend and grabbing her and her ass without consent as well. When I was crying.
Yeah, like that, like, who needs to do it? Who needs to do it? Who needs to find Anastasia and cut off her fucking hands? Anastasia, do you know what a normal fucking hug consists of? Do you know how to normally fucking hug someone without literally fucking grabbing them? You weird fucking pervert. You creep. Ew. What? Meanwhile, Haley is elsewhere crying because Anastasia verbally abused her and called her a bunch of names, called her ugly, like, etc. And she does that to her girlfriend. She's like, oh, Haley's mad at me right now. I have nobody to unconsensually touch right now. Like, that definitely tracks. Especially, like, we remember Marcy's story where Anastasia got all handsy, for lack of a better term, while hugging Marcy. So, yeah, it tracks.
She also asked my partner if we could all have a threesome. Does that sound like someone who was sexually harassed at my home?
Yeah, we talked about that one. Hey, maybe keep it in your pants, like, every once in a while. Like, maybe, like what do you take? Are you smoking some horny goat weed or whatever that shit is? You guys know what I'm talking about? I don't fucking know. But, like, hello? Is everybody around you just, like, objects? Haley adds on her video to say this.
Anastasia was also love bombing me when I woke up and she was on my lap. She was saying that she was in love with me, that she loves me, that I'm everything she's ever wanted. She told me the last time I talked to her that she wanted me to personally tattoo my first name on the back of her calf. And I do think that she was getting upset that I was rejecting her advances when I was sober again and in my right mind and not blackout drunk. Because it's almost like I didn't want to do that in the first place. And it's almost like, if you're sober, Anastasia, it's almost like I can't consent if you know I'm blackout drunk.
Even when Haley passed out drunk and woke up a couple hours or whatever later, like, she was still drunk. When you pass out for an hour or so and you wake up, you're still drunk. And that's just drunkenness. That isn't even considering being blackout drunk. But the average duration of being drunk lasts 6 hours from your last drink. So, like, even when Haley got slightly, a tad bit more sober after passing out, she started rejecting Anastasia. Like, she woke up and she was still relatively hammered. And she's rejecting Anastasia. The only time Haley was potentially not rejecting her, although keep in mind that we got this information from Anastasia, who would literally never admit anything wrong that she did. But the only time that we think that Haley didn't reject her was when she was on the verge of unconsciousness, and literally unconscious, because an unconscious person can't reject you because they're not conscious. Also, the love bombing thing, typical. So that's Haley's video that was posted February 20th, 2025. So, of course, you, a viewer with pattern recognition skills, probably know what happened after Haley posted her video statement about Anastasia. Anastasia responded in such a mature fashion, as she always does. But before we get into the frenzy of Anastasia's responses, Haley listed some things in the description of her video. I'm going to be linking Haley's video in my description, as well as, like, all the other sources and everything that I use down below if you guys want to check it out for yourself. So first linked here, it says screenshot of Anastasia admitting it. And this is a screenshot of Haley and Anastasia's text saying, Haley said, "Thanks for giving me the rundown. My memory don't remember, lol, drunkenness." So I'm assuming this was after Anastasia and Haley had that Instagram phone call where Anastasia, like, admitted to stuff, told her stuff that went on, etc. before Haley blocked her. And Anastasia says, "Yes, I'm sorry I did anything." Wow, she knows how to apologize. Wow, don't push her too much. Don't push her too much, because when push comes to shove, she will take that back in a heartbeat. But yeah, I'm sorry I did anything. I honestly didn't think you were that drunk when stuff started, bro. Like, this is just us looking at a still photo, you know, and she's so clearly whatever. I didn't know you were that drunk when stuff started, and I was very unclear of what boundaries there were, let alone if I was crossing any. Oh, yes. Hate when that happens. When I'm unsure of someone's boundaries, so I proceed to do anything and everything that would absolutely cross one's boundary. Oh, yes. So yeah, I guess like that's Anastasia kind of admitting that she did do stuff and that she's aware that she crossed boundaries. She's just trying to write it off as like that she didn't know, but like she okay, so there's that. And then Haley linked her Reddit post that we already took a look at, and then she also linked my IG post. She posted, I love Haley. Oh my gosh, it's just like I said, it's so sad. Like, obviously the story is fucking horrendous. You guys could clearly see that I was like very upset by this, but like it is so nice to see Haley almost like respond in this way. Like Haley, at the face of Anastasia's tactics, it clearly like fuels her in a sense to fight back harder. Obviously, like this doesn't, I'm not saying anything negative about any of the other victims. You know, when you send an entire fan base at people and also threaten to unalive yourself, like you can only imagine that the response that Marcy and Marcella were getting were like nasty. And so like, I totally understand. I understand reacting in both ways is what I'm saying. Just the way that Haley has gone about this is a little bit satisfying for me to watch considering the past 2 videos that I've done on Anastasia. So Haley posts on her Instagram. She posts a photo with her girlfriend and Anastasia. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's more. Yeah, where Anastasia is clearly like, how is Anastasia even bent this way? Oh my gosh, Haley posted screenshots to her Instagram too. I'm gonna be honest, the screenshots aren't that relevant for me to read out loud. It's just Anastasia gassing Haley up, but I'll put them on screen right now in case you want to pause and read them. Oh, and then a screenshot of something Anastasia posting that says bratting is just abusive, which is what Anastasia claimed that Haley was bratting. And then with the caption that Haley put, this is all like an Instagram post. The caption that Haley put is, "You want a sweet thing? That's what you told me? But you're just a mean thing that lives for the game. I want a world where I never caught your eye. I feel for the fool that you pick next. Goddess Anastasia Alexandra Athena Lennon. Thank you for ruining my headspace for at least a month. After I invited you into my home and was nothing but kind, compassionate, and empathetic towards you and your struggles. Now you can continue on your journey of perpetual victimhood and professional love bombing." Oh my gosh! And she posted this like as a post to her Instagram. This is incredible. Yeah, so that Instagram post, by the way, was posted on February 21st, 2025, the day after Haley came out with her video about Anastasia. She was quick with it. We'll dive deep into all that stuff. I'm gonna write down right now to find that video of where Anastasia claims that bratting is abusive. Okay, in Haley's description, she has one more thing tagged and it's titled, "Live stream of me meeting Anastasia drunk. Buckle in," okay? Remember the text post, the screenshot of the text where Anastasia is saying, let me pull it back up. "Yeah, sorry I did anything. I honestly didn't think you were that drunk when stuff started." And I talked about how I showed the photo of how drunk Haley was. Yeah, little did we know at that time, Anastasia was streaming when she met up with Haley, and you can hear how drunk Haley was. It is so obvious. There is no way that Anastasia didn't know. Well, I mean, we know that because we know that Anastasia just lies, but like, the clip that we're about to watch, I want you to keep in mind every single time going forward that Anastasia tries to claim that either Haley wasn't that drunk or that she didn't know how drunk Haley was. I want you to think about this clip every single time Anastasia tries to defend that she didn't know how drunk Haley was. Roll it.
You scared the crap out of me.
What's going on in here?
Nothing.
This is such a big place.
Oh, she's clearly like showing Haley the van.
Actually, that's what's going on.
Right now? With no shoes on?
Oh, she's drunk.
Shoes on?
Do you want to say hi to people?
It smells like wood. It smells so good.
Okay, yeah. You're so pretty.
Thank you. Can I sit here?
Of course you can sit here. This one.
Oh, she's drunk.
How many medications should I take from here?
No.
What's she taking today? Hello?
No.
You cute.
I'm not gonna say it out loud, but I will keep this in mind.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Yes, I will. Diabolical diabolos. Always the plan. There you go.
You're gonna do.
Come on, what is this? Tic Tacs? She's not ready for me to get in the car.
I'm not ready for it.
She's
I'm not ready for anyone.
Her seat is filthy.
My seat, everything is filthy.
She's not even wearing shoes.
I'm not.
Why is Anastasia talking to her like that? Ew, I've never seen Anastasia flirt. I'm gonna throw up everywhere, all over my laptop. What the hell? The way that Anastasia, like, she, like, talks to her like she's, like, a baby. Because she has this weird, like, thing about that. And, like, keep in mind, like, Haley's, like, blackout drunk. So Haley's just, like, whatever, going along with it, being silly, being whatever. But, like, Anastasia, you're sober as shit right now. You're not gonna address the fact that she's so clearly drunk out of her mind.
Why does it look bigger on the camera?
How does it look bigger on the camera?
Oh, it smells like wood in here.
I cut a lot of wood.
Oh my god, is this real life? Real life, like Bluey would say. Can I sit here?
She can sit here.
Can you wipe it one more time? Can you get those crumbs out for me? Yeah. I'm not interested in sitting on that.
I was not expecting to spend time on the camera. I would have cleaned it up for you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that just adds more context as to, like, you know, she's very clearly drunk. Okay, we are now going to get into Anastasia's response. So to remind you guys, Haley posted her video on February 20th, 2025. And usually in the responses that we've seen to Marcy and to Marcella, you know, she's yelling, she's crashing out, she's operating power tools with no safety equipment, she's screaming at everyone, she's blocking everyone, she's telling people to go harass the victims and correct them, quote unquote. She's saying, if you love me, you would go over there and you would correct everything they're saying. It's a direct quote from her.
If you love me, you will go over there and you will correct everything they're saying. If you love me, you will go over there and you'll correct everything they're saying.
She's threatening to unalive herself.
Hey, do you guys want me to kill myself? Is that what you want?
She's, you know, she's doing a lot. She's doing the most. But, after Haley posted her video, I guess Anastasia decided she would take a different approach this time. Because 12 hours after Haley posted her video, the first post that we see from Anastasia is this reel. I fucking hate this reel so much. Okay. I fucking hate it. Oh my god.
Look, you can keep hoping for my downfall all you want. And I'm just gonna sit here eating soup. Love you.
Oh, I hate you. I hate you in your fucking soup. Give her 2-week blinding stew right now. Oh, but just, okay, look at her face. Watch her face with me. It makes me so mad. Look at her stupid face.
Look, you can keep hoping for my downfall all you want. And I'm just gonna sit here eating soup. Love you.
I fucking hate those little mannerisms. That's like so smug. There's nothing that gets me more heated than like smugness. Oh, and I also can't do the mouth noises of her eating the soup. That's specifically, like, I don't know why that makes me mad more than like anything else. But also, like, that's the first video she posted after Haley posted a video talking about how you touched her in her sleep and while she was drunk. That's the approach you're gonna take? You're gonna talk about it as if haters be hating. I'm just gonna keep eating my soup. Just gonna keep eating my soup. Sorry, I'm trying to impersonate her face. She does actually talk about it though, of course, in her next reel.
So the real problem with believing all victims is that sometimes people can
First of all, first sentence. Hey cutie, so the problem with believing all victims. We talked about this at the end of my last video, but after Marcy came out with her video talking about what Anastasia did to her in the park, Anastasia posted a video being like, I'm not gonna believe any fucking victims anymore because in my experience, victims just are trying to get attention and they lie and they this and they that and they blah, 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 blah.
Never gonna believe. Like seriously, why would I? My experience is that like this, victims apparently just fucking lie about their experiences.
And that's just like kind of the most cursed and horrible mindset that you could ever possibly have. I didn't make this point in my second video, however, but I did think about it while reviewing the footage. The reason why people believe all victims, it's crazy that I'm even defending this point, because this is something that, oh no, sorry, my microphone's not plugged in, so the audio probably sounded really bad right then and there. Damn it, I hate when I do that. The reason why people say believe all victims is because A, the commonhood of false accusations is something that is widely overassumed. Like, it's something that people think is way more common than it is when it really isn't. Here's the thing. If a person accuses another person of SA or grape, obviously the person being accused is going to have the inclination to say, I didn't do that, or it didn't go like that. Because if they don't say that, then the alternative is saying, yes, I am a rapist, or I SA'd someone. So that means that literally almost everybody who gets accused is going to say that they were falsely accused. Every single person that gets accused is going to say that they're falsely accused. Hence why we believe victims, not people that are victimized by false accusations. Fucking hell. Use half a brain cell, maybe. Anyways, let's watch the rest of this video.
So the real problem with believing all victims is that sometimes people can genuinely be a victim of false accusation, like me, for real. My mother filed a restraining order against me. The judge asked her, are you afraid of her? She said no. That is a false restraining order. It got canceled immediately, but I got kicked out of my house without any notice. That's not illegal. It should be. But you can totally file a false restraining order without any evidence.
Interesting bringing up your mom, in which you said you don't care if you made her fear for her life that day.
Frankly, if you break into my space, I don't feel bad about making you fear for your life.
But yeah, she totally tried to file that restraining order for no reason. We talked about that in part 1, but like, you can imagine the point that Anastasia's getting to here.
And if they choose not to fight it just because it's a lot of work to go to court and maybe they don't have the time, that restraining order is going to get permanent. I did choose to fight mine, and my mother didn't choose to perjure herself, but had she chosen to perjure herself, it would have been even more difficult for me to fight it. People can be victims of false accusation. I love you so much.
I don't fucking love you, bitch. I think this is her trying to be like PR trained and not directly bring attention to the Haley situation by addressing it, but still in a way trying to defend herself against the allegations for the people that have heard about it. But for the people that haven't heard about it, they're like, oh, she's just talking about the situation with her mom. And so she's not bringing attention to Haley's video or those accusations, but she's like still addressing them. It's like a nod to the people that know. We also have this clip of Anastasia responding to the allegation by trying to claim that Haley SA'd her, which is what Haley talked about, and we've talked about a little bit earlier, but here's the actual clip.
The blackout girl, Haley, sexually with me, and because she's drunk, she decided that she gets to accuse me of her, which is not the way it works. Yeah, people can't consent, but they can sex people.
What's ironic about this clip is that we know that Anastasia SA'd Haley. But in some attempt to defend herself, she actually shot herself in the foot in this clip by admitting and saying herself that drunk people can't consent. So now, not only do we know that she SA'd Haley, but we also have her on record admitting that she fully knew what she was doing when she did it. And in law, there's actually 2 things that are needed to hold someone legally accountable for their actions. You need actus reus, which in Latin literally means guilty act. So the evidence of a voluntary act, or in some cases an omission, which we'll get to even more, don't worry. And you need mens rea, which in Latin means guilty mind, which refers to the mental state of a defendant when they committed a crime. So essentially, for most crimes, there must be a corresponding guilty mind or mental state, such as intention, knowledge, or recklessness at the time of the act. So having Anastasia admit here that she knows very well that people can't consent, who the fuck else commits a crime like that and then literally post a video of them saying, yeah, I know people can't consent, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, so, I mean, fuck, not that law has ever stopped Anastasia before, though. But gosh, Anastasia, how can you be so fucking sloppy to say that, knowing how evident it is that Haley was the one who was drunk, and knowing that there's evidence out there of how drunk Haley was. And just wait, Anastasia later reveals even more so that she was completely sober. Next, Anastasia shares a screen recording of hers and Haley's text messages as an attempt to exonerate herself, which did nothing. At all. It made her look so bad. Like, Anastasia really thought that she got him here. Like, Anastasia goes through Haley and hers text messages and screen records them and then uploads it to prove to people, like, see, look, Haley was flirting with me at some point in time. So I didn't sleep with her. But also in these text messages, I literally admit to everything that I did. Why did you share that? Okay, let's get into it. So here we have Haley sending Anastasia the picture after that night and saying, are you headed back to Oregon, baby? I hope you have a safe travel. Also, I just want to say I love you and I'm sorry for what I did to make you not trust me. Genuinely, I want you to know that you can always trust me and I want the best for you. If you're ever in my area again, I would be so happy to see you. I can deal with any triggers you have and I understand it's healthy for you to express your range and full emotional spectrum when your buttons have been pressed. I really appreciate you as a person, Anya. Thanks for visiting me and thanks for the dear pelvis that tax it, yeah. And thanks for the dear pelvis, I'll always cherish it. So, y'all, like, first of all, Anastasia sharing Haley's text does prove that Anastasia lost her cool on Haley. That's what Haley's apologizing for. She's apologizing for when she said prostitute on Anastasia's live and Anastasia freaked out about it and like stormed out of the place. But also, do you guys remember when Haley said that she was placating Anastasia because she knew that she had to be kind to her and lead her on to get information out of her about what happened that night? Just remember that. Okay, so Anastasia responded, I meant what I said about always calming down and coming back. I'm weirdly sure you'll be in my life forever. I feel very connected to you, and I definitely always want the best for you. I absolutely plan to visit you again when I'm in the area. I love you, and I'm sorry I've been distracted. Haley replied, I also feel very connected to you, and it's okay. I know that you've got a lot on your plate. Always here for you if you need to talk that through, though. They go on to talk about their day, not much here. They go on to talk about Anastasia's Twitch getting suspended. I wonder if her Twitch is currently up. It looks like it up. It says it has no content, though. Oh, and yeah, her last live was 10 months ago. Wait, does that mean that when her Twitch got suspended 10 months ago, this happened in February, was she not live again from that night? How long's her Twitch suspended? Who fucking knows? Whatever. I fucking hope that it's been suspended for that long. That's great. So yeah, anyways, they go on to talk about Anastasia's Twitch getting suspended. Hold this for me, Anastasia, if you will. Thank you. Their chat goes on for a little bit, and then Anastasia says, I wish I could actually hug you. That would be lovely. And Haley says, so true. I did hug you a lot when you were here, I think. Starting to kind of try to acquire information from her. And Anastasia says, you definitely enjoyed touching me. It was hard to keep you off of me, actually. Not that I was complaining. Haley says, yeah? Was I on you the whole night? Notice how Haley's doing exactly what she said she was doing in her fucking YouTube video, which was going along with it to obtain the whole story and get, like, a confession from her, you know? Like, Anastasia, you know that's what she said she was doing. Keep in mind, Anastasia is the one that posted this video of their text messages. You're just painting Haley as a very reliable storyteller. This is exactly what she said she did. I don't know why you think this exonerates you in any sort of way. So anyways, she says, yeah, was I on you the whole night? Anastasia, I suppose. You kept trying to get me to go to my van also with you. Which I think is Anastasia trying to insinuate that Haley was trying to hook up with her first. Because despite Haley playing into it to get this information, like Anastasia knows to not actually admit that she's the one that came on to Haley. But regardless, even if Haley came on to her first, Haley woke up to touching her. And she was, as you described, too drunk to consent. So in case these texts do somehow convince you that Haley was coming on to her, despite this entire video showcasing a series of Anastasia's lies, it still wouldn't have been consensual. But, okay. Also, remember, she grabbed Haley's girlfriend too. Okay, anyways, Haley says, who kissed who? Anastasia replies, you kissed me first, I believe. I believe? Okay, yeah, so she definitely fucking didn't kiss her first. If Anastasia can't even tell a straight fucking lie about that. So she said, you kissed me, I believe. I definitely kissed you first later, though. And you asked me to, I guess I'll just censor my words. And you asked me to suck on your boobs. I'm sure that Haley asked that. We made it a bunch of different times and I started some of them. Haley said, did you, in fact, suck on my boobs? Lol. Anastasia responds, yes, I did, lol. Also, it occurs to me now that there's not really a charismatic way to say that. Haley said, how long did this all last? No sex, right? And Anastasia says, no sex. It was all night. Haley said, you sucked my boobs all night? Did I touch your pee-pee? Did I touch your pee-pee? Anastasia said, no, LeMayo. We did that for only like, I don't know, a couple minutes or so. We did come back to it occasionally also. Through my clothes, but not more than that. So she's saying she did touch her pee-pee through her clothes. Anastasia's pee-pee. Ugh. Sorry. Horrific image. I'm getting flashbacks to Anastasia's wish list. Oh my god, that we talked about in the first video. And then Haley said, sorry about that. And Anastasia said, it was fine. You should have communicated better, though. Anastasia, did you know she was blackout drunk? Did you know she was blackout drunk? You did know that she was blackout drunk. I shouldn't even ask. You knew she was blackout drunk. You literally said that she was drunk. What are you talking about? You should have communicated better, though. Also, guys, okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second and say that Anastasia is not lying about Haley initiating some of it. Reading these texts of Anastasia remembering and recalling everything and then having to fill Haley in on what she did, having to tell Haley what she did because she was so drunk. And like that, like Anastasia having to fill Haley in on what she did puts a pit in my stomach. And I know anybody watching this that has experienced that feels it too. Like, does that not speak for itself? And then Haley said, thanks for giving me the rundown. My memory, don't remember. Drunkenness. And then Anastasia says, yeah, I'm sorry I did anything. You're sorry you did anything? You're sorry you did anything? Anastasia, do you not realize that you're posting these texts to try to prove that Haley essayed you? But you're sorry you did anything. Aren't you trying to prove that she essayed you? What's going on? What's going on up here? What caused you to do this? What caused you to post these texts? She goes on to say, I honestly didn't think you were that drunk when stuff started. I was very unclear on what boundaries there were, let alone if I was crossing any. And like, yeah, that's the screenshot that we saw earlier that Haley linked in her video. That literally is just Anastasia admitting that she did engage. That she did do this stuff, and you know that she's like talking about boundaries and how like she potentially crossed them, which she did. Yeah, and also like I said earlier, Anastasia, if you're unclear of boundaries, you ask. How else do you find out what people's boundaries are, right? You ask, but then also if the person's drunk, you just don't do anything. You said it yourself that drunk people can't consent, right?
Yeah, drunk people can't consent.
And now you're talking about how you did this stuff with her, to her? So yeah, anyways, they go into chit-chat a little bit more before Anastasia turns on vanish mode and then screen records the chat, which is what we just watched. Don't know, again, why she posted that. Like, Anastasia posted this after claiming that Haley essayed her. What part of this was supposed to show us as the viewer that Haley essayed you? Was it that Haley was slightly flirting with you, like she said that she was, to get a confession out of you? Is that what you were posting? Were you trying to post Haley flirting with you to excuse you sleeping with her when she was drunk? You know that, like, even if a woman tempts you, you can't touch them when they're asleep or drunk. So, interesting. Yeah, so shortly after the allegations raised from Haley, Anastasia posts this TikTok. Oh, just remember the clip of her saying that people can't consent. Remember the, okay.
Hey, Sweet Pea, so you're not gonna like this take, but drunk people can absolutely consent to sex.
Yeah, drunk people can't consent.
Let's let it play.
Hey, Sweet Pea, so you're not gonna like this take, but drunk people can absolutely consent to sex. I was an alcoholic for a long time. I was drunk every single day for like 3 years. I had a lot of sex during that time, and it wasn't all coercive. I knew what I was doing, and it is not up to other people to determine how drunk I am when they also might be intoxicated, and when I might be concealing how intoxicated I am. Yeah? You need to be very, very drunk drunk for you to not be able to consent. Like, can't really walk or talk straight, right? Like, the kind of drunk where it is impossible for you to conceal how drunk you are. And at that point, yeah, you can't really consent to sex.
So Haley, so you just described Haley, like you just described Haley. So like you just described Haley. Like, are you aware that not only did you say that drunk people can't consent, but also right here, right now, when giving an example of how drunk is too drunk to consent, in your opinion, you described Haley that night. You described Haley that night to a perfect T. And there's literally photo evidence showing that she was too drunk to conceal how drunk she was, and video evidence of her getting in your van that night when the second that she opened her van from the first interaction that you had with that woman, she was so clearly slurring her. She just, like, I don't... You guys remember the video of Haley getting in Anastasia's van. It is the most, like, if I had a group presentation of what a not sober person sounds like, I would use that video. You know what I mean? So, like, video evidence also of Haley, like, very clearly showing that she's not sober. And there's more video evidence of her throwing up and sick in the back of your live stream because she was facing a severe hangover. The type of hangover including throwing up from the previous night, which only happens when you're extremely intoxicated. The type of intoxicated you just said was too drunk to consent. At this point, call the cops on yourself. Like... Okay, yeah, but yeah, sure, go on.
But there is a large space in between sober and blackout drunk where you were very able to consent and even likely to try to consent just because alcohol makes people horny. Yeah, alcoholics can absolutely consent to sex, and they regularly do.
Okay. I don't know why the wording of that TikTok of her being like, alcoholics can absolutely consent to, and they regularly do, reminded me so much of like the verbiage when she said dogs can consent to making dangerous choices, and they regularly do, when she was saying that dogs can consent to drinking alcohol.
Dogs definitely are exposed to alcohol in the wild on a regular basis. They absolutely can consent to drinking alcohol. A lot of dogs even very much like alcohol. Dogs can consent to making dangerous choices, and they do regularly.
Anastasia, you have the worst takes on consent that I think I've ever seen in my life. Okay, the next thing we have here is this live clip from February 28th of her talking about it.
When they said no, I didn't do anything, and when they told me to take them home, I took them home immediately.
Oh my god, just talking about Marcy again. Like, shut up.
And I did, but you know, somehow they felt threatened.
I wonder how, Anastasia, you're not threatening at all.
Take me to fucking court, you lying. Take me to fucking court. Do it. Do it.
And I woke up and I was fucking really mad about not having my goddamn dog. You know? And that's why I got fucking kicked out. Because I screamed like this about wanting my dog back. You know what? And I'm not fucking sorry. I want my goddamn dog!
God damn it! And you know what? Yeah, I am angry. You would be angry if someone had fucking accused you of sexual assault too, okay? You would be too! You refusing to listen to me when I'm angry is like literally the whole fucking point, okay? You're the problem!
Even though I gave them and that's enough to accuse me of sexual assault. And because they say that, that's all they have to say. They have to say sexual assault. And then the context of the fact that I did ask for about every single part, right? And like at every single opportunity, and I like listened to them when they did say no immediately. That apparently doesn't matter because they used the magic words sexual assault.
Cry me a river! Cry me a river! That's just not what happened. Like, her being like, I did stop at any single opportunity, and I did ask about every single thing. Let me go back.
That's all they have to say. They have to say sexual assault. And then the context of the fact that I did ask for about every single part, right? And like at every single opportunity, and I like listened to them when they did say no.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't listen to them when they did say no. And also, you know that somebody being blackout drunk to that level and being asleep, you know that someone being asleep is the equivalent of them saying no because they're asleep. That's implied. They're asleep. That means no. That's just what that means. Also, when Marcella was crying on the floor begging you to stop, you didn't. The first time that Marcy very clearly said, I have a boyfriend, we're in a monogamous relationship, that didn't stop you from continuing to berate her the entire night about it and then go on to unconsensually touch her. Haley being asleep, passed out, and blackout drunk didn't stop you from anything. So that's just not true. It's not true.
Immediately, that apparently doesn't matter. Because they used the magic words.
I don't know what that hand motion is. If anybody knows what that means, yeah.
And it's like, you know, there's no like legal charges against me. There's no civil charges against me. There's no actual anything real against me. There's literally just internet rumors. I wonder why there's no anything real. Maybe it's because, like, if you actually even pay attention to the rumors, they're not actually anything. Like, you know?
They're not actually anything is... There's no legal charges against me, meaning the rumors aren't true. A, it takes time to press charges. B, Haley at least. I don't know about the legality when it comes to, like, verbal abuse. Maybe Marcy too, but I'm just gonna say Haley because Haley so far is a case in which there's so much evidence. Almost everything was documented. We have documented Haley getting in the van with you and very, very, very clearly being very incoherent, very drunk. We have Haley in the background of your live stream throwing up. We have that photo of Haley where she's very clearly drunk. And then we have text message screenshots of you confirming to her that you guys engaged in actual activity. That is a fucking case. And just because Haley didn't go forth with pressing charges doesn't make it any less of a case. I don't need to be a lawyer to say that, like, Haley abso-fucking-lutely could. I even showed the legal side of it about mens rea and actus reus. Like, Haley absolutely could. Going to court and the legal system and speaking with a lawyer and collecting everything can be very re-traumatizing for someone. Not only would she have to face you in court, the person who sexually assaulted her, but she would have to relive everything and collect all of it. And then not to mention, like, getting a lawyer costs money and all. Like, there's so many reasons why people don't press charges about stuff like this. But that doesn't mean she couldn't. She absolutely could. And I'm so glad that later on, unfortunately we can't talk about it today, but in part 4 we'll talk about it. I'm so glad later on that somebody did actually pursue legal action against you because you f***ing had it coming. And I wish you rotted in that cell longer. So yeah, that last live was February 28th. I'm also going to group together the last week of February just for calendar/timeline purposes because her responses are very spread out over that last week and there's a bunch of random clips that, like, are hard to find dates to. And specifically with Anastasia's response to Haley's stuff, her responses are not only half impossible to find, but a lot of them are uploaded in, like, really, like, so much of this stuff took so long to find, and some of it I wasn't even able to find. I, unfortunately, was not able to find the clip of Anastasia saying that Haley tried to stab her. That was something that Haley addressed and talked about. That clip is literally nowhere to find. And unfortunately, Anastasia went on to copyright strike and take down a bunch of re-uploaded clips of hers. So some stuff just doesn't exist. I mean, like, obviously I believe that Anastasia claimed that Haley tried to stab her. Like, Haley addressed that multiple times. Why would Haley address that if Anastasia never said that? So I'm just going to assume that Anastasia said that somewhere within that last week of February where she made a bunch of responses to a bunch of stuff. I'm also going to find that video that Anastasia posted saying that bratting is abuse Do we have a video? I'm not gonna be able to find it. No! Come on. Who are you? Mr. Fizzle for Shizzle. Help me. Help me, Mr. Fizzle for Shizzle.
Hey guys, so I know you don't know me and never
seen me, but I wanted to make this video fully explaining
Is
the
that
situation
Kevin Hart
about
cat?
Instagram
Is that Kevin
user
Hart as a
lexity.
cat? I'm gonna scrub to see if they put the bratting as. I'll link this person's video down below too.
Lexity was online with two people who were probably under the age of 18. One of them was trauma dumping, and Lexity was just totally checked out. Like halfway through, her and the other girl wasn't even listening and she was just busy smoking. She really thought she was slick with that one. You thought. But peep how she treats
all the rest of her fans who don't.
Okay, I don't think they have the bratting as abusive. The bratting is abusive clip, but I will link this channel down below. Hey, they only have 630 subscribers, so I'm subscribing right now, 631, baby. Okay, yeah, so this is all that we have about the bratting is abusive post. We just have a screenshot of the post, and the caption looks to say something like, it says, "No, it isn't cute when you trigger me on," I'm assuming she said, "purpose to blah, 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 blah." This was posted right after the stuff that happened with Haley. Guess what? Haley's not a submissive. Haley said herself she's not a submissive. Haley wasn't bratting. Haley wasn't triggering you on purpose. So Anastasia is not only pushing her into the category of a brat because she's just sexualizing her when she tries to like express her fucking emotions or express her fucking opinions. So and then she's pushing her into the category of a brat, being like, "Oh, you're bratting right now. Stop bratting." Da da da. But not only is she doing that, but then she's being like, "That's also abusive. Guess what? This thing that you're not doing is also abusive. And yes, you are doing it because I said so, because I want you to fit into this sexual description that I'm forcing upon you." So that's that post. Unfortunately, we cannot watch it because I cannot find it anywhere. But it's fine. I'm sure we're probably better off without having watched that. We also have this TikTok that she posted. Oh my fucking god.
Just because being drunk makes coercion easier doesn't mean that you are inherently coerced just because you made a choice while you were drunk. Like, you being drunk doesn't exempt you from the sexual choices you make or the consequences of those sexual choices. And if you think that it does, you are just allowing people to engage in negative sexual behavior without any responsibility. There is no other actions that you can choose to do that you are exempt from the consequences of just because you were drunk, right? If you rob a store, you still have to deal with the consequences of that. And if you choose to have with someone, you chose to do it, right? It's not my responsibility to control your choices, and I have been sexually assaulted and then blamed for it because drunk people can't consent. They can consent. I have been assaulted by them. If you couldn't consent, then how did you choose to do something that I tried to stop you from doing?
I really hope she's not alluding to Haley here, because you know damn well that you were the initiator. And even if you weren't, which there's proof you were, there's you like admitting it, she was blackout drunk and you were sober enough to remember every single convenient detail that you tell. And yeah, sure, Anastasia, a drunk person can essay a sober person, and that wouldn't excuse that action. You know, if they were drunk, that wouldn't excuse that. But let me pose the question. Did Haley essay you before or after you touched her in her sleep? Yeah, okay, so that's the disgusting, horrific situation that happened with Haley. But now we get to pivot into Anastasia's blatant racism and disregard for the trauma and oppression that Black people face. Little side note, please ignore the fact that I'm wearing an entirely different outfit and it's an entirely different day in this next clip. It was originally going to be in part 4, the last part of my Anastasia series, because I was trying to not make this video above 2 hours. But yeah, the next topic actually ties into Haley's story more than I originally thought, so I thought it was better to put it in this video. I'm talking a lot, so let me just show you the clip. So I don't know if you guys remember when we were first talking about Anastasia's responses to Haley and I showed you guys this TikTok.
Cutie. So the real problem with believing all victims is that sometimes people can genuinely be a victim of false accusation. Like me, I did choose to fight mine, and my mother didn't choose to perjure herself, but had she chosen to perjure herself, it would have been more difficult for me to fight it. People can be victims of false accusation. I love you so much.
Yeah, not sure if any of you guys happen to peep the caption. So the caption of this video where she's talking about how she's been victimized by false accusations and her mother attempted to file a restraining order, and she's also alluding to like the Haley situation because she posted this right after Haley posted her video. So just to verify with you guys that your eyes are not deceiving you, the caption of that video read, "False accusations are often weaponized against minorities. Chicago Park 5, which was definitely a typo for Central Park 5, Tulsa race massacres, and a million other examples. It's rather easy to stoke paranoia when people are already fear of the group you are a part of, when people are already afraid of the group that you are part of." Yeah. So if you don't know, Central Park 5 refers to 5 Black and Latino teenagers who were wrongfully convicted in Central Park for the, rape and assault of a white female jogger. They were subjected to long, grueling, unrecorded interrogations alone, with no parents present, lasting from 7 to 30 hours. Where police broke them down and coerced them into making false confessions. There was no DNA or physical evidence of any kind linking them to the crime scene, and this case specifically stands as a prominent example of racial profiling and systemic racism within the judicial system. These teenagers served sentences ranging from 6 to 13 years before their convictions were vacated, meaning that the court withdrew their guilty plea. Like, this was racial profiling. And the other thing that she's referring to is the Tulsa race massacre, where a white mob, including some individuals deputized by local officials, attacked and destroyed a Black community. They burned over 35 square blocks of the neighborhood, and the firefighters who were there to extinguish the fires were held at gunpoint and therefore unable to do so, leaving up to 10,000 Black people homeless and held in detention centers. Not to mention the hundreds of people that died that we don't even know the exact number of because it was so heavily covered up. The Tulsa race massacre is literally recognized as one of the most severe incidents of racial violence in U.S. history. And she just compared herself being falsely accused, which she wasn't even falsely accused, to these events of extreme and violent racial injustices. Now listen, I am a white woman, all right? I cannot speak for the Black community. And if anybody disagrees with anything that I say, or if anybody wants to correct me on any details regarding anything, I do encourage you to do so in the comments below. I do not take offense. I would be pretty bad at my job if I wasn't open to like learning from other people and listening to the opinions of people from different minority groups that are specifically affected by this, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, in my opinion, not only is that so fucking tone deaf and disrespectful to these events pertaining to the oppression of Black people, and bringing that up and trying to use it to defend yourself against your essay allegations, but it's so fucking insane due to the fact that this isn't even her first time doing this. Like, do y'all remember when she called herself the trans Malcolm X? Like figures like Malcolm X come from centuries of racism, colonialism, and violence, and equating that and those incidences that you mentioned with online backlash for a crime that you fucking committed strips those figures of those events in their historical and racial context, and it centers yourself in someone else's oppression. Sure, you're oppressed regarding gender identity, but race and gender identity are different axes of marginalization. And for you to just collapse them into one, like, oh, well, I'm oppressed, so I'm just like them. Right, guys? Right, Black community? We get each other, right? Like, no! And this is literally her response, bringing this stuff up is in her response to her being called out for essaying a blackout drunk person and touching them while they were asleep. You are weaponizing Black trauma in an attempt to sanitize your own image. From one white woman to another, Anastasia, shut the fuck up. Just in general, but also the fact that this isn't your first time comparing yourself and your situation to these historical events and figures that pertain to systemic racism, police brutality, colonialism, stuff like that. Like, the fact that this isn't your first time is so insane. Genuinely, shut up. Shut your mouth. It's not your place to talk about this, and it's so fucking weird. For someone that talks so much shit on white women, you might be trans, but you are no above in any ignorant white woman. And the fact that you use your platform in this way makes you worse. And she really does love an opportunity to be like, oh, how can I make this about me? Weirdo. You're a weirdo. Fucking hell. Also, like, it isn't even the black community. Like, she goes on to later talk about Native Americans and their cultural practices and, like, whine and sulk that she can't practice them. I'm getting ahead of myself with that one. We're gonna talk about the whole Native American thing and like her posting very ignorantly about Native Americans and their cultural practices, and in several posts she goes on like a huge tangent about it. We're gonna talk about all of that and much more in part 4. So yeah, that video that we just watched with that caption was of course the video from February 22nd. And then I talked about how for the next week she continues to respond to Haley and continues to just like post all of the fuckery that we watched earlier. Since we are nearing the end of this video, I'm going to also refresh you guys on the timeline. You guys have been very kind about my little calendar. I'm glad that you guys like it. I think the timeline is also another good visual aid. So we started off this video by recapping the events that led us up to Haley's story. From September 26th, where she was kicked out of her mom's house, the events that took place with Marcella, with Marcy, up until January 11th when Marcy posted her video and Anastasia had the biggest live crash out that we've seen yet. In today's video, we added to the timeline January 25th, where Anastasia met up with Haley and took advantage of her while she was extremely intoxicated to the point that her physical safety was potentially at risk. She woke up to Anastasia touching her, she screamed at her, calling her so fucking small and weak and saying that her jaw was too big and that she was ugly, and while Haley was upset at Anastasia, she went on to her girlfriend as well. A series of events that was wrapped up with Anastasia storming out the next morning after Haley said the word prostitute on her live stream. We also added February 20th, the day that Haley posted her video statement about the situation that went on between her and Anastasia, and February 22nd, where Anastasia responded to Haley's video by not only claiming that Haley essayed her and then sharing texts in which Anastasia admits to sleeping with her when she was drunk, but she goes on within the next week to claim that Haley threatened to stab her. She claimed that drunk people can't consent, but then posted a video later saying that drunk people can consent, but they specifically can't consent when they're intoxicated to the point where they're exhibiting XYZ, and then she goes on to literally describe Haley that night. She of course threw in the transphobic accusations a few times, and then on February 22nd was also the day that we got the post from her saying that people can be victims of false accusation and equating her facing very reasonable and warranted online backlash to systemic racism. And that is where we currently sit in the timeline after this video. But of course, as I have alluded to many times and in many of my videos in this series, the future holds some big events. We will be covering the rest of these things in part 4, my final part, where I complete my timeline. As this video, like the others, has been very heavy, I'm going to pivot to a bit of a palate cleanser so nobody has to leave today feeling icky and angry in the plethora of emotions that I'm sure Anastasia brings up for many of us. I suggest sticking around for this part though if you're interested in Anastasia's response to the whole Onision comparison, paired with some otherworldly, if you would, classic Anastasia beatboxing. But yeah, I wanted to end on a bit of a more lighthearted note, I suppose, because like, I don't know if you guys get this too, but whenever I watch really heavy videos like this, I always leave feeling like the world is a horrible and unjust place and everything is horrible and I should never leave my house again. Yeah, I catastrophize a wee bit. So take it away, myself. This is on Reddit and the caption is, she disregards consent and she cannot dance to save her fucking life. What is she doing? The one guy in the back being like, what the fuck is this freak show? Do you guys want to see the original post of that too? Also, I told you guys that Anastasia has been compared to Onision before. That was a comparison that I saw a lot. Here it is. Okay, here's Onision. Fuck, sorry, that was genuinely... No, that was genuinely like Freudian slip there. What the? I swear on everything I meant to say here's Anastasia. This is Anastasia addressing that she's been compared to Onision several times.
They can't make Onision expose style videos about me.
Is that a challenge?
Onision actually did like literal crimes. They can't do an Onision expose about me. That would require me having done anything. Or like anything of an Onision level, which is not even remotely the case. Like, do you understand what Onision did? Like, Onision like groomed and abused multiple people for multiple years, right? Like, he's a really bad person, or at least has done really, really terrible things. I try to stay away from saying people are really bad people.
Well, okay, you're gonna say that Onision groomed and abused multiple people for several years and then say, I won't call him a bad person though. Hello?
People literally could not do an Onision style expose video on me because I have not done the things that Onision has done.
Okay, well, I guess I'll take the challenge, huh?
You can smoke to cope with this endemic epistemic lack of hope.
Okay, wait, we're adding this. I never saw this. She posted a video for rapping.
To cope with this endemic epistemic lack of hope, we all feel it. So hold your friends close and tell them that you love them when they need it. You can call me crazy, but I think you're just repressed. Your heart's not stone, it's still beating in your chest. Despite associations, you're just like the rest. So take a look.
Stop, I'm doing that thing again. I have goosebumps again. Look, and not because it's good. I googled it earlier. It's a flight or fight response. I'm experiencing a fight or flight response to whatever the f this is. It goes on for 8 minutes? Why did it mute? I mean, thank God, but like, why did it mute? Hello? She always breaks my fucking laptop when she like raps or beatboxes or whatever the shit. Why is it not playing anymore?
When they need it.
Oh,
you can call me
I think
crazy,
the person...
but I think you're just repressed. Despite associations, you're just like the rest. So take a look.
The person screen recording the comments like went down and just fucking muted her.
The rest, so take a look.
The fucking comments on this live though is, oh yeah, this is brutal. This is when people started to like realize what was going on. What's the time? What's the date of this? It was... No way. Was this the day after Haley posted her video? Did she respond to Haley's video with a rap battle? Is she rap battling Haley? Okay, and so the top comment is, me when strangers give me $30K to fix my life, but I'm a privileged crybaby who would rather blame everyone else and victimize myself after being an unapologetic monster in all of these stories. And then somebody said, is this related to when you called yourself the trans Malcolm X? Happy Black History Month, everyone. Wow, so this is what an unfiltered Anastasia comment section looks like. New Onision just dropped. Someone said you have essay allegations against you and you blocked me for saying it. That got 200 likes. See, and this is why these videos are important. Somebody responded to the person commenting saying you have essay allegations against you, and they said she doesn't. The story was a misunderstanding. The girl felt uncomfortable, which is valid, but Anna never forced the friend, and Lex even took her home. Oh, this is talking about Marcy? The storyline was never anything about essay. It was a kiss, and I guess the friend felt uncomfortable, so Anna took the friend home.
That is not correct.
Someone said Boy in a Band Part 2? Yeah. Like, actually... This is like if Boy in a Band and Onision had a love child. She actually kind of looks like Boy in a Band too. I think it might be the hair. And I'm not saying that to be transphobic. I think she kind of looks like Onision more. Oh wait, let me get a side-by-side here. I'm sorry, but she literally kind of looks like Onision. Yeah, she's literally Onision and Boy in a Band's love child. That's horrifying. Anyways, to wrap up our intermission, should we watch a good old-fashioned beatboxing video? Wait, what is this? The thumbnail of this is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. Wait, that's so scary. Anastasia, you know that you can select the thumbnails to your videos, right? I'm so scared. Please stop. I'm not kidding, I'm not being funny, please stop. Hey, so I'm not being funny, please stop. I'm actually gonna screen record this so that you guys believe that my laptop is frozen right now, please stop. Hey, so I'm pressing the X button, can you stop? Hey, so I'm trying to exit. I'm trying to press the X button, I'm actively clicking it. I'm clicking the... Stop! It won't even let me pause. Why does this happen every time? Okay. What the shit? Now my TikTok's just black. Now everything's just black. I can't do this. I can't do this. Not again. She's a demonic presence. Oh my god. I think I need to reset my laptop, y'all. Hang on. That is where I ended my palette cleanser. I could not take any more. Even when we try to joke and be funny, Anastasia has to go and ruin it. Yeah, that will be the end of today's video. I'd like to give credit where credit is due and give a huge thanks to all of the people whose videos and posts assisted me in my research in this video. I want to give a shout out to Riley Elena. She is another YouTuber that has talked about Anastasia, and her videos help me so much, as like I spoke about earlier, Anastasia has taken down so many clips and there's so much that's hard to find. So please do check out her channel. I think she's so extremely underrated, and she's so sweet. I talked with her recently and she actually like gave me some tips about deep dive videos, and yeah, so please check out her channel. Also, Exsweetpea and Truthsucks666 are both two channels that have a bunch of clips of lives and stuff that was taken down and just everything. You can go watch Anastasia live stream screaming in full if you'd like to, if you want the true authentic experience of what it's been like for me researching this video. Mr. Fizzle for Shizzle, I'll link below. I don't think he really posts, but like, go give him a sub, why not? I'm subbed to him. Only cool kids are subbed to Mr. Fizzle for Shizzle. And of course, I will also be linking Haley's video down below. I mentioned this in my last video, but I have spoken with all of the victims. I got all their consent to include their videos and cover their stories, and they have been so sweet and kind. And I want to take this moment to remind you that these are real people, these are real victims. They are aware that I'm posting these videos. They can very easily read the comments, so let's be respectful down below. Also linked down below will be that Google Drive that I talked to you guys about, where you can submit content suggestions to me for further deep dive videos, topics, or just videos in general that you'd like to see from me. Don't let me fall off after this series. Don't let Anastasia be my legacy, my like one-hit wonder moment. That is a nightmare. But yeah, if you're only on this channel to watch this Anastasia series, I do recommend watching my other videos. I think they're quite good. I think they're pretty good. Also, like and comment and subscribe if you like long videos. This will be my first video ever on this channel that's over 2 hours, and I'm really self-conscious about it. One more thing, you can turn on my notifications so that you will be notified when I post a video. Part 4 will definitely be one to keep your eyes peeled for. We will be talking about Anastasia's ignorance towards Native American people. We will also be talking about Anastasia going on a huge misogynistic kick and deciding to become a men's mental health advocate in the worst way possible. And of course, we will be talking about her next victim and her arrest, and then we can never talk about her again. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya when I see ya. Bye now.